So what do you think? Look, there's champagne, pink, white, there's cream, there's brown and purple and blush. There's apricot and red. There's some that grow quite tall, and some varieties which I can never get to grow tall. There's varieties that look like a rose. Petals are smooth or ruffled. Plumes can be tiny. They can be bicolored. They can be cabbage-like. They can be single-petaled, or they can be full of petals. So if you were to ask me, Jen, what is your favorite flower to grow? Hands down, out of everything I grow on my farm here, lisianthus has been my most favorite thing for years now. There's just so much I love about it, the growing aspect and the selling aspect of it. But I think what I'm a little bit sad about this year is I really need to look at whether I can keep growing lisianthus. This is the third year now that I have lost money on lisianthus, and this is a business for me. I don't just come out here and play in the flowers. I really need to pay myself something for the work I put into here. I need to pay for all these expenses and hopefully on top of that make a little profit. And I think this is the third year now that I'm not making the profit. I'm paying myself a small amount every week for the year, and I'm definitely paying for the expenses. But this is the third year now. I don't have a lot of extra money in my expense account to buy new things for next year, and there's probably not going to be anything on top of that, which you would call profit in the business world. And I blame the lisianthus. It's because I put so much time and effort, and I spend hours growing this crop, and this is the third year I'm hardly harvesting any. Yeah, and I don't know what to do next year. But let's first talk about why I love it. Like, it's just so pretty. It's comparable to me to the peony and like the ranunculus. I think those three are the most pretty flowers that I grow on the farm. Maybe dahlias would be in there too. But compared to all of those crops, lisianthus has an amazing vase life. It outshines any other crop on my field. So dahlias and peonies especially, they're really pretty, but their vase life is crap. And so when you're selling at a farmer's market, people want at least a week out of their flowers, unless you really educate them and they understand that it's going to die in 3 days. But lisianthus, I don't have to educate anyone. They can buy it, they can walk around, mark it, and keep it out of water for a while before they get home, and it will still look good. It will still look good for at least a week, if not 2 weeks, if they really take care of it. And another reason I love it is there's just so many varieties. Like, some people even think that they're different flowers, but they're really just a different family of lisianthus with a different set of characteristics to it. So I love all the new varieties. I love every year that I can try new ones out, and it's almost like you're growing something new without actually growing something new. It's one of the reasons why I joined the Association of Specialty Cut Flower Growers, their seed trial, because the last number of years they've had like 5 to 9 new varieties of lisianthus in their seed trial, and I love trying all the new varieties. And one of the reasons that I started actually flower farming so many years ago is that it all started because I'm kind of obsessed with starting stuff from seed. I love growing plants. I love starting and germinating things. And so that's a whole nother story, but that's how we ended up at a farmer's market. And that's kind of another reason why I love lisianthus. I love starting them from seed. I love that I can do that in December and January, and it just makes the winter more enjoyable for me. I love taking care of them through the whole winter and spring months. So it's a lot of time. That's why a lot of growers will buy lisianthus in as plugs, and they'll have professional greenhouses grow their lisianthus babies, and then they can pick them up and put them in the ground. But I actually love that stage, and maybe it works right now in my life because Bob and I don't go anywhere, but that's a pro for lisianthus for me. That is one reason why I love growing lisianthus. And I could probably keep going on reasons why I love lisianthus, but I thought I'd end on just this one other little reason, but it works with my personality and how my day-to-day on my flower farm. But I love how like I can cut sunflowers every morning. I can also walk through my lisianthus beds every day during lisianthus season and find the stems that are just right. I don't have to cut them all like zinnias or dahlias right before I'm going to sell them because their vase life isn't very good and they don't store well in the cooler. Like zinnia doesn't store well in the cooler, but lisianthus does. It does store really well in the cooler. So there's no rush to harvest right before a sales day. I can harvest throughout the week, find the best stems and store them in my cooler. And so you're probably asking yourself, wow, lisianthus sounds amazing. You love it. Why would you consider not growing it next year? The answer comes down to this is what lisianthus did for me for years. This is what it would be tall, not even in bloom yet. So we're going to get taller stems, full stems, multi-branching stems. This is how all my lisianthus used to look. But this is what over half, probably 2/3 of my lisianthus look like this year. Like, this is the same variety, like a fraction of the size. So in order for me to keep growing lisianthus, I need stems that look like this and not like this. So I'm super thankful that my whole crop this year isn't short and small. So I was able to send a number of buckets of lisianthus out this week through the collective, and yeah, it was so fun. I actually feel like a real flower farmer when I'm cutting and harvesting and selling lisianthus. They're so pretty in a bucket. It's my favorite way to sell, just to grow beautiful flowers, stick them in a bucket and let the designers do their thing with them. So that was really nice to bring some buckets away this week. And it does make having lisianthus, it makes it easier for market bouquets. Like my least favorite thing to do is make bouquets, but having lisianthus available to mix in, it just makes the bouquets more beautiful, easier, faster to do. So bouquet making wasn't hard this week. The challenge this week was the weather for market was like the worst forecast. From 3 to 7, it called for rain, and they were very accurate. It was raining on my way to market already. But when we got to market, it was just spitting. An umbrella, that's all you needed. It wasn't even that windy. But the problem was it rained all around the town where my market is. So people weren't coming. My lowest market sales in years. I think I sold 1/3 of what I normally do. So that was really painful yesterday. But I came home to 1 inch and 2/10 of rain on my farm. So I'm really thankful that we got rain here. So because it rained, I thought this is great. I can finally move the netting and move these chickens out of this area. We did turn the chicken tractor around so I can pull it back up the hill. But I haven't been able to move the netting because it's so dry and I can't actually pull it out of the ground, let alone stick it back in a new spot. So I was surprised. It's still really dry. I can hardly push these stakes back in the ground. So I did kind of move it. Hopefully they don't escape. They're going to jump out the back. But anyways, this is where they're going to be until we get some more rain. And I only set up one netting, so their area's a bit smaller. But that allows me to work on this space here that they've been hanging out on. So we talked about why I like lisianthus. We talked about selling lisianthus, but it really comes down to the growing of lisianthus, which I thought wasn't a problem. I used to lay landscape fabric down, drip line underneath, and just put the plants in and off they went. And I want to get back to that. But 3 years ago, cutworm came into my field. And last year, cutworm was still in my field, eating tons of baby lisianthus in April and May, right when you need to get them all in the ground. So that posed some serious problems and some huge losses to all these baby plants. This year, with the nematodes and the chickens, I think the cutworm population is a lot less. I still lost a few, but I think the plants I lost were for other reasons. And to be honest, I'm not sure what went wrong this year. I'm not sure why the lisianthus I planted first and the lisianthus I planted last are good, and the middle lisianthus are not good. Those are the ones that are short, stunted, stressed. So my number one thinking is that I didn't get enough water on them. The other thing I realized is I never do this, but I planted them in the same rows I put lisianthus in last year. So I don't think that's the reason, but maybe or it's a really weird coincidence. So I don't know what to say. I'm not sure about why they're not growing this year, but I do know this year I have again spent so much time weeding them, so much time. I can't do that anymore. I have to go back to landscape fabric to manage them. And I actually think it just gave me nicer stems. So I have to get a handle on the cutworm, which love living under landscape fabric. So hopefully we've gotten a handle on that. And then that will help with the weeding. And then I'm just gonna really focus on a lot more water next year, especially when they're super small, and cross my fingers that, I don't know, maybe some more research this winter will help me figure out what went wrong this year, but I can't give up on growing them. I think this winter I'll have to decide on how many I'm going to grow, but I can't. I love them too much to stop growing them. So this is the future rows of Jen's lisianthus for 2026. The chickens are off. I'm going to get some cover crop in here and hopefully fill this up with lisianthus next April. So that's all for me for this week. Thanks so much for listening to me talk about my favorite cut flower. I hope you had a great week and hope to see you again next time.